Hey there, YouTube. You caught me in the kitchen again, working on this amplifier. It turns out there was on one of the cuts underneath, the solder had bridged. Just a tiny, you couldn't even see it. And when I reflowed all the soldering, it fired up just like a champ. The power amp had a fatal flaw in it. You know, I was looking, they sell thermal glue. And this is where you need to reapply a heat sink because they failed to do it properly when they manufactured it in China. Now, for years and years and years and years and years, never ran into a problem. Now, all of a sudden, they had 2 amp boards in a row on 2 projects, the same problem. And do I go and buy thermal glue, or do I just use JB Weld? Or, you know, I got to tell you, from here out, I am not going to be powering up amp boards when they're in the project. When I receive them, I'm going to set up a test rig and immediately test them. And if the heat sink is wobbling around, I'm either going to obtain some of that thermal glue, or I'll use JB Weld, whatever I got to do. And I'm getting my money back on that amp board first, because that's until we hold China accountable. Because again, years and years and years, at least a dozen TPA 3116D2 mono amp boards, at least a dozen. At least a dozen. More like at least 3 dozen that I've been through. And I've never had a problem, then all of a sudden 2 in a row. So I'm a little bit riled up about that, but the amp board should be coming soon, and we'll be able to finish this one. I did get everything else working, and everything is great. Through the process, I thought, gee, I should build a little test amp, because the one that I was using wasn't really ideal. And I like to use... this is the signal generator on the bottom, and there's a range switch for the volume. You can set it on quiet or loud, although really for gain devices you're going to need to really pump it through there and turn it up on maximum volume. That's why I find it best to send the signal out nice and strong and then have a master volume on my my power amp, the test amp. I have a nice master volume control on that. And today I got to thinking, like, you know, this is kind of big. It takes up, like, having this double stack. It's not as conducive and convenient. So we went ahead real quickly and we built a test tone generator, and we have an internal test tone generator. So you can run just the amp, or the amp and the test tone generator. And I'm going to show you exactly a couple different ways how we would utilize this. So first off, I want to test this here. So we're going to go out. This is the signal out, and we're going to plug that into the input of this device. And then here's the output. This cable here is the output. And I've got little alligator clip leads here. I got the black one on the ground, or the minus connection, and then this blue extension wire I soldered on to the red lead. So we're going to go ahead and plug these into the input of the amplifier. It's a LM386 amplifier, and basically I just put an external volume control on it. So I'll give you a tour of the inside in a minute, but let me just show you this, how we're going to go ahead and use this. So right now the signal is going through this device, and that jack is a little bit suspect, but as you can hear, everything's working on the preamp as it should be working. And we're using one device. Here's the volume control for the send on the circuit, and then here's the power amp receive. So let's say that we fired this up and we weren't so lucky and we still had an issue. What you can do is use this test probe. So this here we're going to plug into the input. We're going to disconnect our input here because we're going to be doing the test probe method. Okay. So this is a pen with a piece of coat hanger wire in it. There's a filter cap. There's a capacitor in here. So you ground it out. You take this. This is connecting to the ground, and turn it on. We got our amp halfway up, and our signal is coming out. It's going into the jack. So what I'm going to do is test the jack here. Okay. So what I'm doing is connecting the input of the amplifier through this pen. There is a blocking capacitor to block AC voltage, or DC blocking cap. So I'm testing it right at the point of input. Now let's go to the output of the buffer. Let's see if the buffer's working. Yeah, this jack is... It might be that cable, actually, that green cable. So that's how we use our test probe. And I'm getting a sticky reading here. Let me try to... Yeah, there we go. And then over here on the output of the preamp board, so yeah, there you go. Everything's working fine. But like I said, this probe, when you get to that point when all of a sudden you don't have signal, well, then you've just isolated the area where the problem is. So this is a great troubleshooting tool. Whenever I ask my helper, I go, hey, could you go get me that audio probe? It's always like I'm not in a very good place at that. That means something's wrong. Something's wrong. So the interesting thing about it, it's the same circuit as my old one, but listen to how different the tone is, and that should speak to the tolerances in the components. How the people will tell you, oh, well, you see, when they make those analog guitar pedals, there's a tolerance in the parts, and they're all off a little bit, and that'll affect the sound. And you go, it doesn't really sound like it would affect it that much to me. Well, it does, and that's proof in how much difference. It's the exact same circuit, and you hear one is quite a bit higher than the other is so much lower. And you can adjust the output. This one has a range switch. That's the only difference. You can, and I like that. If it's really loud, instead of turning it down, you can just click and then it's quiet. And it has a temporary I think I'll show you. This one has a couple more features. You can... Are we getting the bad cable again? Oh, Petey's video. Oh, the switch wasn't on. That switch is the wrong type of switch. I should really remove this, because when you put it in the middle, it goes off. But yeah, you can play Radio Chaos. And it's got that toggle there, which this one here doesn't have the momentary. It doesn't have the range switch, but it does have the volume potentiometer, so you can get it where you want. And if we want to take a look at the inside of it, this is a 3.6 phone battery that powers the power amp board. This is two 3.6 phone batteries taped together to give me more like 7 volts, which is powering, that's the circuit that produces the tone. That's called RG Keen, is the name of the guy, R.G.Keen. RG Keen quick and dirty test oscillator, and it's a pair of 29 2 and 9
3904. Is that what we're talking about?
2N3904. I think they're P&P. They're real common transistors. Super common transistors. So it's an LM386 amp that we removed the trimmer. There's a set and forget trimmer for the volume, and then wired in our own 10K potentiometer. Here's the speaker. And there's a little board, a little thin piece of crappy board that's hot glued down to the base. And we hot glued the speaker down. There's a couple of output jacks here. The potentiometer for the control on the amp board. And then we have a volume control on our tone generator. There's a power LED. Here's the switching. And then this recharges the bottom battery. Eventually what I'll do is I'll wire in another switch, probably what I'll do is put a switch in here, right next to it. And that will switch this port to throw DC at either one of these packs. So I can recharge the battery packs. Or if it runs out, I can yank this out of here and charge it manually, or replace it with another battery, or do whatever I'm going to do. But that is the test amp. Initially, it didn't have the tone generator. We made a video about it yesterday, and I was so proud of myself to make it with the tone generator, to get everything to fit in here and get it as good looking as it does. I had to make another video bragging about it. So thank you guys for joining me. I have amp boards coming for this project. We will be getting this one demoed for you when the amplifier comes in. I will install it. Well, first off is test those amp boards and then glue those heat sinks on proper and be testing it for you so you guys can hear this orange amp here. You can hear this thing that I built. We've got some knobs coming from Tata. I got some real sexy knobs. It was funny, I looked at these knobs and I said, I think that's the knob that I want to use. And Donna looked at it, gave me the nod, and then later on the night I looked the amp up, and I looked the original amp up, and there's the same knobs. They're the same knobs that came on this amp. So I know for a fact, I think my buddy that I grew up with, J.C. Mitchell, I think he had one of these amps. Matter of fact, I know he did. And I was just remembering this distinctive type of knob that came on this. So you'll get to see this when it's done. I don't know. I might get sassy and put a chicken head on here. I don't think it'll fit. You know, the option would be black Marshall style knobs. I really like those Marshall style knobs when I'm putting them on amplifiers. But I'll be talking to you guys soon. You guys take care of yourselves. Thank you so much for joining me on this one. If you haven't subscribed, I'd love to have you here. This is the type of stuff we like to do. We're not pros, we're not techs, we're not experts. We don't know what we're talking about, but we love making music and we work hard at doing that. So I'd appreciate it if you guys could support me. Spread the good word about this channel. Always comment. That's what keeps me going, is you guys' comments. There's the same group of people watching these things every time, and I'd like to see some more comments. Especially on the odd video that will capture some new attention. So thank you so much for watching, but I really appreciate a comment, like, share. And if you have a pet, make sure you hug it. That's what I ask you to do. More importantly than anything is show love to an animal. And with that, I'll cut you guys loose. Take care of yourselves in peace.